Breaking news. The Detroit Lions have just beat the fuck out of the new Shandong My Little Ponies, destroying them.
Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. And it's coming right up. You're going to hear a roar of the crowd, and believe me, you will never, ever forget it. Are you ready? Count it down. Ready? Okay, here we go now. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
All right, everybody, let's get on it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
Football! Yeah. Take it away. Eli's brought to you by Dr. Yaldo, by the way.
Well, start with football, huh? What a game last night. I think Lion fans can breathe easy again. The panic is over. They're back. They're playing like they did when they were won 16 out of 20. But really a difference. It's hard to say. I don't like when people say, well, they look scared, or they look excited, or they look this and that, as if they can really tell.
Or they're flat.
Flat, right. But they did play with confidence. They played with aggression. They clobbered after a very dull first quarter where neither Denver or the Lions did anything. The second quarter was just a revelation. This was they were reborn into what we had seen in winning 16 out of 20. Because it had been, let's face it, it had been a rough 4-week stretch, right? They barely survive against Chicago. Then they dropped 2 out of 3. They looked really bad looking against Green Bay on Thanksgiving. Looked even worse than Jack Harlow did at halftime. They beat New Orleans 33-28, but looked awful on defense. Drew was worried about the offense that day, justifiably so. The defense was awful. Then they get beaten badly in Chicago last weekend. Goff is fumbling, throwing interceptions, giving away 10 turnovers, I think in the 4 games, or maybe in the 4 games. They couldn't protect him. They couldn't mount a pass rush. And then the second quarter began last night. Yeah. And everything turned around. It was stunning. They win the quarter 21-0. They blitzed. They tormented Russell Wilson. Aaron Glenn looking like a star defensive coordinator all of a sudden. And I tell you, I don't know who got the game ball last night, but I was blown away by Ifeatu Melifonwu.
His blitzes.
All of it, his coverage on that deep ball when he knocked it out of the guy's hands.
That was a great play.
And like you mentioned, Glenn, he inserted him as the starter, which was kind of a surprise
Over Tracy Walker. And he had a total of 49 tackles in his 3 years with the Lions. He had 8 of them last night. And they kept on talking about Isaiah Buggs picking up the fumble, but it was Malafunu who stripped the ball from
great play that
from Russell Wilson, and then all game long, you're right. The guy was just fabulous. The third-year man out of Syracuse.
I don't remember seeing him on the field before last night.
Yeah, I had to look up number 6. I know.
Who's his number 6 guy?
I know, but he was everywhere. So I wonder who got the game ball last night. You could have given it to Goff, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. You could have given it to Sam Laporta, 6 targets, 5 catches, 3 touchdowns. When he burst through people to score that first touchdown, you could have given it to St. Brown. That forward flip into the end zone was half gymnastics, half football. It was really and
Gibbs had a pretty good game too.
Yeah, great game. 100 yards on 11 carries. What a brilliant draft choice, and we questioned it.
Well, and Campbell went off on the media that questioned the draft picks of Laporta and Gibbs.
Well, let
me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. I just know that he.
Well, Campbell was in for Derek Barnes for a while, wasn't it?
Jack Campbell?
Yeah, Campbell.
Yeah, Barnes had gotten hurt.
Yeah, but the 2 first-round picks, I mean, Laporta and Gibbs.
Laporta was a second-round pick, actually.
Was he?
Yeah. Campbell was the other first-round
Was Campbell the first?
Yeah, he was picked 19th.
15th or 19th? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did he do anything last night? I swear, I rarely noticed him on the field.
Yeah, he had a tackle or 2, but no, he wasn't. He didn't certainly star like the other 2 guys. And Branch played okay, and so just a brilliant draft last year. And
you want to hear Campbell?
Yeah, go ahead.
What he said last night.
Grit.
Yeah. Let's see, where's it at? Let's see if this stuff works.
Grit.
Okay, I guess it's not. Doesn't want to work. I mean, there he is on the screen. So just imagine what he was saying.
Yeah,
those picks were great picks. Anybody questioning those picks?
He goes out saying he's doing a really good job, and I would say this. If you see the kid, when you watch him in meetings, all right, you watch him out at practice, the walkthrough, the way he works, he reminds me of St. Brown in that manner. Very much the same way, just how he goes about it. And he is highly competitive. He gets in games like this and he shows up now, and he's got this competitive edge about him.
J-Mo.
And so
He's talking about J-Mo?
talking about J-Mo?
I'm not surprised by that. He just keeps getting better and better, and so does Gibbs. Gibbs is just getting better and better. So, I'm just going to bring it back to Brad Holmes. It's a hell of a job by him once again. Took a lot of criticism for those 2 picks, but they look like they're okay. So, I'm glad we got them.
There you go.
I'm not sure. So which two? Is obviously,
I think it was Laporta. Laporta.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of JMO, Drew, you're starting to get a little faith. I mean, last night.
Hey, shut up. Four
Drew.
catches for 47. I'm rooting for him. Shut up.
I like when he looked at the camera and said, "That's for you, Drew."
First of all, I'm rooting for him. I'm happy he caught 4 balls for 47 yards. It's not like he had 6 touchdowns. Jesus Christ.
No, but you know what? No, seriously, and I hate to say, body language can be fluky, but he just looked excited to be there. He didn't look scared. He made a good leaping catch. He made a great move. So Drew, I'm not
made a great move on the sideline.
He made a couple of great moves. So he appears to be emerging somewhat. For whatever reason, it's taken this long. There are probably several of them, but he at least looked like you could see the talent there, the speed.
He also got 7 targets, which they haven't thrown him 7 times in a game, I don't think, even once.
Well, we were specifically watching the wide receivers, Bentley and Brandon and I went to the game, and it's like, wow, they have a lot more space between them deep than you can really tell watching the regular TV broadcast. I don't know. Maybe that's because Goff had a lot of time because the offensive line was back and healthy and looked fucking great.
What a difference Ragdoll makes. The damn center.
God,
Jeez.
No. Yeah.
The line was exceptional. He had plenty of time.
And they put pressure on Russell Wilson, which is they hadn't been able to do in the past.
Russell can't move like he used to, but yeah.
I would much rather the Lions lost blitzing and putting pressure on the quarterback and getting beat than just sitting back there forever with no pass rush.
Well,
I mean, if I had my choice to lose one way or the other, I didn't like the way they were doing it before. Fortunately, it worked last night, but it is risky to blitz.
Yeah, and who knows situationally each game how Aaron Glenn dials it up or what he feels that the game plan should be. But last night they were daring and they were fast and aggressive. And to tell you, they looked as good as you would have ever expected them to see, especially coming off, like I said, a 4-game stretch. They went 2-2, lost 2 out of the last 3, but just looked very mediocre throughout.
I know, but those 2 losses, Packers and Bears, isn't it hard to beat your division rivals twice in a season?
They're dangerous, man.
But it depends how you look. They just looked like shit, but they're
I just think that's the NFL.
I think people got spoiled so quickly by the Lions. We've forgotten they were 0-10-1 2 years ago at almost this exact time. They started last year at 1-6. They won 8 out of 10. They're 10 out of 14 this year. And all of a sudden people go, I don't think we win the Super Bowl with this guy. Or, I mean, we're still just trying to take a step up at this point.
There's too much expectations.
And when you give Goff time, he's as good. He's as good as it gets.
Play Barbara again. She said it all there.
There's too much expectations.
Expectations. We all do it.
You could have given a game ball last night to St. Brown, to Gibbs, to Laporta, to Goff, and to, of course, Melifonwu, who played so well. So good game.
I got to tell you too, Goff. You hit on a little bit. Did not look good in that first quarter at all.
No.
I thought he looked terrible in the first quarter. He's holding on to the ball forever. Some of his passes were short, especially that deep one to JMO. And then all of a sudden,
it wasn't short. It was over his head, wasn't it?
No, that ball was underthrown. The one that got knocked.
Which one are you talking about?
The big deep one
would have been down to the left.
Yeah, it went over his shoulder to the left. Yeah,
it was way underthrown. But he turned it on after that and looked all world the last 3 quarters.
Mm-hmm. And I was also surprised. Where's Riley Patterson? And they replaced him with Badgley.
I was asking, did he get hurt? And Bentley just told me that he just couldn't kick long, and so they got rid of him.
It's because he missed two point afters in the last few weeks. Is why I think they went back with Badgley, who had been was cut in preseason, but because he had a groin injury, they don't want to keep 2 guys on the roster that are both kickers. But anyway, so they got 3 games left. It's all good. They play Minnesota twice, and was so interesting yesterday watching the first game, which was the Bengals and the Vikings. Had the Vikings won, I was saying if the Vikings won that, they would have been 8-6. And the Lions lost, they would have been 9-5. Would have been within like a game and a half, or within 2 games. One game. And so, but incredibly exciting game. Cincinnati wins in overtime, but the backup quarterbacks, they both played okay. But so Jake Browning, who played brilliantly for most of it. 1 year, $750,000 contract in place of Joe Burrow, $50 million a year.
Yeah.
You've got Nick Mullins, a $2 million contract in place of Kirk Cousins, $40 million a year. There is a big difference between a backup quarterback's salary, and it was a fascinating day because in the second game of the Colts and Steelers, there were also backups in that. Gardner Minshew, winning again, was it Trubisky played for the Steelers. But so 7 starting quarterbacks going down, from Rodgers to Watson to Cousins, on and on and on. And so I'm looking at this article, which is on backup quarterbacks, the best backup quarterbacks in history, because it's always looked at as the best position because you rarely play and you make pretty good money. And Lions had 2 in the top 10 all time. Number 1 was Charlie Stinkin' Batch, who was an 11-year backup with the Steelers. He was a backup with the Lions for a couple of years. Then he started because when they got
one of the best backups of all time.
Of all time, and
what?
Well, he
What about
won
Earl?
championships.
Please tell me Earl Morrall was in there.
He was in there. Yes, he was. There were a lot of
Don Strock, the Hokie.
I don't know if Strock was in there or not.
Drew Stanton. Was Drew Stanton on the list?
He wasn't bad as a
And
backup.
who was the Michigan quarterback? Todd Collins was
Todd
in
Collins,
there too.
yeah. Elvis.
But in the top 5 was Gary Danielson.
Oh,
and it was fascinating because, obviously I worked with Gary and I followed his whole career. But he's a great story. He was working in a sheet metal factory and a substitute teacher when Greg Landry got hurt in the preseason. They called him back after cutting him, and he managed to play 15 years after that. He'd been in the World League a couple of years.
Was George Blanda in there?
No, George Blanda was not in.
But he had an MVP year as a backup quarterback.
What about
Big
Kurt
Dick
Warner?
Nick, number 1. Nick Foles.
No.
Eli, you got to bring the whole list. Was
Gotta
Kurt?
give Foles number 1. He won a
This list is
Super Bowl.
bullshit.
I tell you, who's near the top was Zeke Bradkowski. That's why I didn't bring the whole list.
Where's Don Strock?
Wait, how can honestly?
Former Hokie.
How can Kurt Warner not be on that list? He
He was a
replaced.
starter, though.
Yeah, but he replaced the guy, the other quarterback from Indiana, Trent Green, when he broke his leg.
Oh, well.
And he made a movie about him.
He was.
Since he was working in a grocery, they should make a movie about Danielson.
I think
He was
guys
a
who-
starter for the rest of his career.
Right, the guys who were long-term backups is really what it was all
Like
about.
Don Strock.
Oh, so they were
George
never
Blanda.
good enough.
Speaking of starting, but the other story I thought was really interesting, although it's a leftover from last week, was Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if you guys talked about this. Did you talk about Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid bitching about a legitimate call?
Well, they went nuts.
They went
Just
nuts.
not a great deal. We talked about it a little bit, but yeah, I thought it was a lot of blowhard madness over what proved to be a pretty good call. But
Right.
then I heard that they never call that. You can be offsides and they don't care.
Bullshit.
Or they tell you you're offside.
They generally give you a warning, but
That's what they were pissed about, yeah.
But the reason it's a story now is Reed got fined $100,000, Mahomes got fined $50,000 for basically whining about it. It's been a tough season for Kansas City. They're only 8-5, and it began by losing to the Lions. But yeah, how can you bitch about a legitimate call? And of course, the call happened before the greatest play in history that didn't count. Was the Travis Kelce back throw to Kadarius Tony, who was offsides. But anyway.
Can I ask this? Why didn't they blow it dead? When the offense is offside, don't they blow the play dead?
No, only false starts.
They blow it dead with a false start. They blow it dead with a false start.
But the play started with the guy offside, so there.
Yeah, but what if they threw an interception and the defense returned it? They only blow it dead if the play is
right.
grossly affected or whatever the phrase is.
Because maybe the defense wouldn't accept the penalty.
Yeah.
If they'd intercepted the ball.
Just like if the defense jumps offside, they run the play.
But anyway.
Right. Well, if they don't touch anybody, that's true.
Or if there's a holding, they don't call the play dead either.
Yeah, I guess with illegal motion or whatever, they just go ahead and run the play.
Yeah.
There's no advantage to the offense. But
yeah.
So, and let's turn to the colleges. Unless you want to add anything about the Lions, I think we pretty much explained what a great win it was.
Did you get your Super Bowl tickets yet, Eli? I mean, they're going.
Are they going really? Where's it? It's in Vegas this year.
You know what?
Yeah, look, if they didn't have to go through San Francisco and Dallas, I mean,
Philly.
That'll be interesting to see what happens when they play at Dallas.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see because we don't know what happens today because Dallas is 10-3. They're at the Bills. They could lose that, be tied with the Lions 10-4. Philadelphia is at Seattle. They could be 10-4 after losing there.
I'm going to be biased, but that home field advantage at Ford Field is so huge.
I couldn't believe it. This is the loudest game at Ford Field I'd ever been to by far. And I've been to a handful. I don't think I've ever been to a game at Ford Field where they won, but it was.
Well, you think this is recency bias?
You know, this is like my wife.
It was a Saturday night.
Every time she makes a
was a
new
drunk
soup, she
crowd.
says it's the best soup ever.
No,
it can't be
this
the
was
best soup
louder.
ever. The Raiders game where what's his name, the beautiful girl in the end zone we tried to get in touch with.
86, yeah. I believe she was there last night. too.
That's the loudest it's ever been. So it can't be louder by a decibel every
If
time.
I wasn't at that game, this one was louder. It was the loudest.
that was
It's
a
rocking. Ford
hell of a
Field.
lot of fun.
It's
I
a
just feel
different,
like-
different atmosphere.
When the offensive line is on their game like they were last night, the Lions can do anything.
And the defense plays well. That puts
It's
some
a big
pressure.
factor, too. But I feel like the offensive line, the expectation is that they are that good.
Yeah.
And they played that good last night. And maybe it's because they have people back. But it's such a difference maker. I mean, any quarterback is not as good with a lot of pressure, but Goff cannot escape any kind of pressure. He's paper mache back there.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see guys, there was a couple times that Russell Wilson escaped and going, this guy, he's in his mid-30s now. He's amazing. But in Denver
Oh my
was on a
God!
roll.
That play Russell had, where I mean, it looked like he was going to get sacked. There's a corner blitz, and he just goes and dumps it over everyone, and the tight end's just standing there wide open. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
oh,
there was
yeah.
Very good description.
It's a good
but
gainer.
And there was
that is a veteran quarterback play, man.
There was another where a line was about to nail him, and he sees him out of the corner of his eye, takes a little fake forward, goes. It's amazing how they can.
There's a throw in the first quarter too, where and the guy was on his knees when he caught it.
Yeah.
Where he escaped, and I'm like, how the hell do you make that throw? Like, you can't throw it anywhere
It's
else.
kind of a dying quail, but he did get it off. I thought Gibbs made a couple great moves on that long run down to the 5-yard line.
Hell yeah, he did.
Wow.
He's
The look on his face too, because
He's so fast.
He got tackled by backing up and fell on his butt, and the look on his face was like, "God damn it!" Like, I make all these moves, and this is what happens.
He's fast. He's powerful. He finds the holes. He's big. He's
You know,
player.
A lot to like about him, man.
Interesting piece of trivia. I wonder when the last time 5 touchdowns were scored by rookies in a game. That's got to be pretty rare. Laporta had 3 and Gibbs had 3. Now, you could go back to the 1965 Chicago Bears and Gale Sayers.
Gale Sayers ran
that
for
man,
6.
He ran for 6. He returned a punt. He caught a screen pass. He ran for 4.
And he had an awful knee injury that he came back from and still played. What a
He had a 1,000-yard year.
what a sad movie with Brian Piccolo. Oh, God. Billy D. Williams. Yeah.
James Caan. Remember when he got me with the mashed potatoes? After I sang the Wake Forest fight song.
Sad.
Yeah.
Gotta admit, Piccolo had a lot of good jokes as he was dying.
Oh, man.
He was a
Not
jokester.
funny.
He was a jokester. What are you talking about?
Cliff Notes Theater proved he is not funny.
Who played Piccolo in that?
James Caan.
Okay, oh, that's right. And Billy D. Williams played.
Butkus was in the movie. Was let's see, who played George House? Is that Jack Warden?
Yes,
I think it was.
Yes. His bad ear.
Oh God, was that stupid?
What was the name of the movie?
Ryan Song.
Ryan Song. That's right.
Yeah, and Piccolo, being the jokester, told Gale that he can't hear in his left ear, or his right ear. So Gale's running around to his good side.
He's a
in the meeting.
jokester.
How do you guys remember this stuff? This movie was 40 years ago.
Oh, I've
We
seen
did a
it
Cliff
a
Notes
million
theater on
times too.
I've watched it 5 times at least.
It's not a bad movie. It's just really stupid sometimes.
It's really it ages in a very funny way.
Agree. The highlight of that movie, though, are the highlights from the NFL.
Oh, God,
that
yes.
actually show.
I know. In the remake, they didn't have those highlights. It was not nearly as interesting.
It's so interesting, too, the way the great running backs all had a different style. I mean, they could be so different from O.J. Simpson to Gale Sayers to Barry Sanders to Gerald Campbell to Jim Brown. They're Walter Payton. They were all so distinctive in their own way.
It is, and Gibbs is very distinctive, too. I was watching him last night, and I'm like, he might just be a great back, not just a good back. He might be a great back.
And they don't really use him out of the backfield much to catch balls, and he can. And this is the brilliance of Ben Johnson and the way they built this team with Laporta.
Well, everybody's a target.
And Amon St. Ra, they can run, they can catch.
One correction, Drew. Only 4 of the touchdowns were by a rookie because Amon Ra had that sweet flip into the end zone.
Yeah.
No. Laporta had
Gibbs
3
had 2
and
and
Gibbs
Laporta
had
had
2.
No, Amon-Ra St. Brown had the last one of the first half when he flipped over the
They
end
had
zone.
6 touchdowns.
But he's not. Well, they had 6 touchdowns.
Oh,
in
I
the
thought you were
game,
saying all
but
5
said-
of them
you
were
said
scored by.
6 were all by rookies.
No. I said
okay.
5 were by
Right.
rookies.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to forget that Amon-Ra touchdown. 'cause
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so fucking
No, that was
cool.
awesome. No, rookies didn't have every touchdown, but they had 5.
Yeah.
I would venture to say that's. I wonder if that's been done since the great Gale Sand.
Don't know. Well, he didn't do it as a rookie. He didn't have.
Yeah, that was his rookie
year.
Yes,
The Kansas Comet in his
against
rookie
the
year.
49ers at Wrigley Field.
Oh, we got a Chicago
With
sports
the infield
fan here. Yeah.
intact. The pitched mound leveled down.
Can we move to college?
Sure.
A lot of good stuff.
How's the chat, by the way? Can we check the chat for a second?
This team is in shambles.
Eli looks stoned.
People are just killing me this morning
For being high?
Well, for not knowing old movies, everything. I have
is
to.
a shambles.
What is there's 4 drops for Eli? I mean, I don't even get that. I don't even understand what that's all about.
Someone commented when you mentioned Charlie Batch, they commented fresh batch, which such an inside joke.
That is an inside joke about Stuttering John, who did not masturbate so he could have a fresh batch for his date.
That's a good reference.
I got to block this screen out here. It's much too distracting for me.
Yeah,
let's move to college because it's kind of taken the back seat here a little bit. But there was a lot of action this week, and credit to Michigan State and their new coach. Can I call him John Smith? Nobody named John with Smith wants to just go by. So it's got to be Jonathan Smith. Like it isn't Steve Smith. It's Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah,
it used to be
separate
John
yourself.
L. Smith. But anyway,
Nice name, not.
he's making it happen. He brought his quarterback with him from. I can just picture this conversation he had with. Is it Austin Childs?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it, no, Aiden Childs.
Yeah.
So he says to Aiden Childs, "Is look, I got this big money deal coming with Michigan State, but I got to bring some guys with me. So come with me in the portal. I'll get you $2 million NIL." And you'll be all set. So he goes. He gets his top running back, Brandon Tullis, who he had drafted to come. And
So he really promised him?
I know.
$2
I'm
million?
guessing.
Oh,
I'm guessing.
okay.
I'm guessing that this is how.
Is that the going rate for a Big Ten portal quarterback? Is that about right?
I would think it's about this. Is that what Matt Rule said?
Yeah.
What, the $2
I'm
million?
guessing. Yeah, it sounds about right.
You know, and he could have replaced. You know, he could have started there because the other quarterback, DJ Ugalele, also entered the portal. And he'll play in his 3rd team in 3 years.
Yep.
And he can probably do better than Michigan State, so he didn't bring his top guy. But we've gone from punishing players with restrictive transfer rules in college football to basically saying, go wherever the hell you want, whenever you want, and it's just become this wild show. Now, Harbaugh, rumor has it, may get former 5-star quarterback Dante Moore, who dumped on him to go to Oregon, then dumped on Oregon to go to UCLA. And so now he's considering coming back.
How did he do at Oregon and UCLA?
Well, I don't think he played at Oregon because he was a freshman. He never went to Oregon. He just committed there, and then he was a freshman last year.
Was
at
he good?
UCLA.
Was he good?
He had
UCLA's
one good
not-
game, and not terribly, but I mean, a freshman, Chip Kelly, I guess okay.
Okay.
I mean, if you liked him a year ago, why wouldn't you like him now?
Oh, no, I was just asking how he did.
I think the thing that's holding him up, though, is there's some questions about if JJ's going to go pro or not.
Well, obviously
He's a
going.
first-round draft pick. I would assume he would go.
I think he will. He should. He
would
should
be shocked
go.
if he stayed. Yeah.
He should go. And so now Dante Moore can choose between Oregon, which loses.
Could you have a bidding war between Michigan and the NFL?
Yeah,
Could
probably.
Michigan?
Yeah, you know why? Because rookies in the NFL, their salaries are capped.
Well, that's that.
What if they get him like
NIL.
$10 million to stay?
Then why not stay another year?
That's the rumor. That's the rumor with Marvin Harrison Jr. There was a ridiculous story that they're going to try and raise $20 million to get him to stick with Ohio State. What could be more ridiculous than that? But it's true, you know. If depending what your rookie deal is, to when you're going to get drafted, you're maybe better off. Just look at what Blake Corum was a perfect example. Yeah. If he had gone to the NFL, he would have been 2nd or 3rd round at best.
I don't know.
Had
if he
no
helped
guaranteed contract.
Did he help his draft position this year?
I don't think he hurt it.
I don't think he. Yeah.
I don't think. I just don't think he's big enough to play in the NFL. As good as he is as a college player.
He's a faster Mike Hart, right? Look at Hart's NFL career.
I guess I don't know. I thought he had a decent shot last year, but I guess you're right. He would have been a 3rd or 4th rounder.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. He certainly would have been a 1st rounder, and he wouldn't have made a guaranteed $1 million or whatever he got.
There's also no salary cap in college football, so why not stay there and get like 7 advanced degrees? stay for 10 years, right?
Well, you've only got 4 years of eligibility, so you can't stay there forever.
Well, that'll change.
5 actually with the.
That'll end up changing.
Did you guys hear that Alabama hired a former Michigan guy as a linebackers coach?
Yeah,
I didn't know much about the story.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big a story. I mean, what can he tell him? And Michigan, knowing that he's going there, can change stuff. So I didn't think.
I guess because he worked under Minter last year, so maybe I don't know. Maybe he knows tendencies.
Yeah.
I mean, does it hurt Alabama? No. It's kind of a genius hire.
It's
It's just another $500,000. Well,
something.
it wouldn't be $500,000 now. It probably plays.
Well, the question is, was he hired for one game?
One game. That's what he hired for, just this game.
What's $500,000 when you don't have to pay the players?
Yeah.
So the silliest story, it's just so pathetic, is what's happening in college with the whole Florida State snub. They got snubbed, but other teams got snubbed too. It's obvious that they shouldn't have been in the top 4. We would have, as Michigan fans, we'd have loved to have seen him play because Michigan would have been a two touchdown favorite. So you got DeSantis, the governor, wanted to take $1 million. I think we mentioned this last week. Wanted to take $1 million out of the budget that certainly could have been used to feed people for hurricane prevention. But let's take $1 million to sue the CFP over Florida State. Stupid. Then Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody said she's going to launch an investigation into the committee. And then the Senator Rick Scott demanding full transparency from the CFP committee, which very calmly he wants the notes, the recordings, the emails, the text, the written communication. And so the director of the CFP says, hey, the injury to your quarterback made them not one of the top 4 teams. Their strength of schedule wasn't as strong as the other 4. What he should have said was, so shut the fuck up, all of you, but he didn't because he handled it politely.
I can't believe he lied to him. He should have just said, no, we want the SEC champion in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Sure.
Well, no, I think if Florida State's quarterback had been healthy, they would have.
Yes, they would have. Yes, they would have. But there's it's like the Hall of Fame. It's written vaguely so that the committee can decide who the top 4 teams are, and they did the right thing. And yes, you can bitch about it, just like the Chiefs can bitch about the referee making the right call, but they made the right call, so shut up. But the other thing that's fascinating too, besides is how the CFP has wreaked havoc on the bowl system. It used to be that when they had to vote on who number 1 is, it was worth it for a team to be in a bowl and maybe move up from 10th to 7th or something like that. But now nobody cares. So you've got Drake May, who may be the number 1 pick in the draft. The Bears might take him, but I think they're going to stick with Fields. He is not going to play North Carolina in their bowl game, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Of course, everybody's going to watch. Nor will Caleb Williams, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, play in the Holiday Bowl for USC. We don't know if Marvin Harrison will play in the Cotton Bowl versus Missouri. So it's really, the CFP has just kind of destroyed any excitement on so many bowl games.
Oh, I don't know. There was a lot of excitement in the Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl yesterday.
Yeah, you saw that, didn't you? Did you have money on that? Otherwise, you wouldn't have looked at it, I know.
I did not have money on that game, but I've never seen that much rain in a football game in my life.
That's why I left Florida.
That's why you came back. That's right. 7 fumbles in the first half. And I think I think they had 6 total points or 9 total points in the first half.
I didn't see.
And nobody from the Hokies is sitting out that vaunted military bowl on December 27th against Tulane.
Really? Nobody's transferring?
Nobody's sitting out the game that I know of. They're worried about the quarterback transferring, but he's staying.
I don't know if you guys ever do like college football pools where you pick the games, but you have to now think of, okay, how many idiots are in the transfer portal that aren't going to be playing in this? Right. And even the first game was Ohio and Georgia Southern. Ohio's a much better team, but like half their team's in the portal.
Oh,
and
really?
And they still won 41-21. They still destroyed them.
For University of the Bobcats?
Yeah,
people in
they're
the
really they're really good. They had a lot of people in the portal because they can move now and play to a Power 5
or something. Really?
How about Michigan State's 3 quarterbacks are all leaving because Aiden Childs is coming in?
Yeah.
Kim is going to Coastal Carolina. Why would you go from Michigan State to Coastal Carolina? Because you have a chance to play. But usually it's for the teams not at the top 4. But Texas quarterback Malik Murphy, the backup to Quinn Ewers, is not going to be in the playoff in case, what if Ewers gets hurt? So now the third string guy, Arch Manning, will be in there. But it's just an example where he goes in the transfer portal because what's
he's not going to play. Quinn Ewers is going to play. Why is the second? So the second guy goes, "Oh, just in case Quinn Ewers is hurt, I am not going to play."
Well, right. So he doesn't want to be the backup because Quinn Ewers, chances are he's not going to play in the game.
Do they care about their team anymore?
No, I would imagine he'll transfer before then.
You missed the chance to transfer by January 2nd so you can make spring practice. So they
no. So you can enroll in classes.
So you can enroll. That's right. So you
can say. So
you can decide what you're going to be. Oh God, the eligibility.
What a joke!
It's such a joke.
Such a mess.
Oh God. Anyways, I think the story of the week, though, besides the Lions and the NFL.
What can I guess?
Go ahead.
Juwan Howard.
Yeah. Juwan Howard, and I'm putting Draymond Green and Juwan Howard together in the story. Two greatly respected basketball figures. I think they're both really good guys. Neither one, however, can seem to help themselves from either physically or verbally attacking people. Green suspended indefinitely by the NBA disciplinarian Joe Dumars, who'd been a father figure to Green. But here's the irony. Draymond Green, and if this segment is called See It My Way is that Draymond Green is a great teammate. He is a great player. Yes, he's been suspended 6 times, 18 ejections. He is exactly there's the irony with Joe Dumars, because Joe Dumars was the pacifist on the bad boy Pistons who did the same things every night that Draymond Green does. Dennis Rodman shoving Pippen into the stanchion. You got Mick Mahorn coming down with 2 forearms driving Jordan to the floor. He spills all over the place. You got Bill Laimbeer taking cheap shots and getting into the. It's so Green, he may have some anger issues or just some rage problems, but I don't think he was trying to hit the Nurkic, Yusuf Nurkic of the Suns. He was trying to sell the thing. He flailed around. He wasn't trying to cold cock him. That it doesn't excuse it necessarily, but.
Is there a more interesting player in the NBA? I mean, there's very few players that are more interesting that you want to watch because he might just snap.
He's a pest. He's one of those guys that you love him when he's on your team.
He's a little nuts.
Well, but in further defense of him, even when he punched Jordan Poole, Jordan Poole had been ripping and being pissed off towards Steve Kerr for his minutes or whatever it was, and Draymond is trying to protect the esprit de corps on the team. Like, shut the hell up about this stuff. We're here to win. So I don't know.
It was in practice.
It wasn't practice, but Poole had been bitching about stuff, and Green basically wanted to be a leader. So it's interesting because when he had choked Rudy Gobert November 14th, and they suspended him. Dumars suspended him for 5 games. Draymond goes back and looks at the video, and he was aghast. He said, "I held him much longer than I thought in the moments." He says, "In those moments, you don't have a sense of time," and whoa, is that Lila?
Yeah.
Lila, everything okay, Lila?
Must be a big dog in front of the house.
I will say Draymond doesn't seem to want to change, though. I mean, he's been doing that kind of stuff for a long time. Flailing and throwing limbs every which way. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but
I'm trying to find the reasons. I even called a guy who runs a mental health clinic and said, "Can you point to anything?" You can't. You just don't know. Is it part of his upbringing? Is it what he saw in a rough town? It's
getting a little old, isn't it?
It is getting old, and that's why he's going to take some time off. But
I thought he already did this, didn't he?
The moment it happens, and why does it happen to him and others? I don't know, because the rest of us, we all are tempted to punch somebody when we're pissed off, but we restrain ourselves. We hold back. We've gone this over in our mind a million times. Don't snap. Don't respond emotionally during the moment, and therefore you are able to restrain yourself and keep your ire inside. Why he snaps, I don't think we know. Maybe he'll figure it out, but I don't know whether it's curable or not. But overall, he hasn't really, except for Jordan Poole in practice, he didn't really try to cold cock the guy, and he wasn't that hurt. He stayed in the ground. He shouldn't have stomped the guy the Sabonis a few years ago. So he has done.
Keep making excuses, Eli.
He's done some shit. He's done some shit, but I don't think he deserves to be this indefinite suspension and like he's a bad guy. And Charles Barkley did say, Draymond's a great guy, but when you keep on doing this, how long does being a good guy last? So it's upsetting, but I support him. I think he's a great player, and I think he'll come back from this. The Howard thing is interesting also, and you got some. I tell you, so
what does zero tolerance mean? By the way, has anybody ever really held to zero tolerance? Has anyone said there's a zero tolerance policy and actually enforced it?
No.
Has that ever happened?
I don't know. But
They checked it out and he didn't do anything wrong.
Right. He yelled at
his fucking brat is yelling at the trainer. His kid? I mean, how obnoxious is that? Why isn't he chewing his kid out? Why isn't he nose to nose with his kid?
Drew, that's allegedly. You'd think that, and this is more serious when he does that than Green, because as the coach, you're supposed to be the adult. You're supposed to be in control of your emotions. You're supposed to yell for effect when you want to get a point across, but not to just blow up.
But when your player is in the face of a trainer, you have to side with the trainer as a coach.
You'd think that. And
hell yeah, you'd think that. Some big player screaming at a little trainer.
It was the comment, though, that Sanderson said when Jace Howard, who's a senior, has been out all year with a stress fracture, I think, that may have been, as you said.
Well, he gave an interview to the Free Press, Jace did. This is where it gets so ridiculous, because he's like, they misdiagnosed they said I had a fracture. It was really a small tendon tear. The reason he knows that is because he got a second opinion from a doctor who did Kobe's knee, who did Tom Brady's Achilles, who did, all these, just a list of these major.
So Michigan just has loser trainers that don't know what they're doing?
Well, doctors, I think, from what I've heard, it sounds like Sanderson kind of broke it up, and that's when they got in his face. But Sanderson's quite beloved there.
I think
at the university.
What got Howard going was that when Jace was yelling at the trainer, Sanderson came over and whispered or said, "That's why the culture is what it is around here." And Juwan heard that.
Because players can yell at trainers and nobody cares.
Right.
Coaches' sons can, yeah.
Right. And so the mature thing would have been, which you would have done, or maybe I would have done, is to say, take Sanderson aside and say, what did you mean by that? What if there's something about the culture, then tell me about it. Let's talk about it.
I don't think he should have ever gotten the words out of his mouth before he jumped on his kid's case for chewing out a trainer. That's bullshit.
I agree.
I thought Howard's comment, too, I think it was yesterday when he said that somebody asked him about Sanderson's stat. Is he still working with the basketball team? And Juwan just said, I don't know. I would definitely say to you, just go look at what Ward said. There's your answer, which is a total cop-out.
Wait, Ward actually said something?
Well, he made a statement.
I haven't heard a word out of Ward.
Yeah, he put out the statement when he was cleared of any wrongdoing, which is Ward Manuel's. That's his MO, man.
It seems
never
loudest,
make a decision or say anything about anything.
The only time I remember Ward being loud was the tunnel incident. Other than that, he's pretty much behind the scenes and doesn't say a word in front of a camera.
Right, regarding Harbaugh. But I think the best comment was tweeted out by Jet Howard, who's now in the NBA, and his oldest son.
I can't wait to hear this.
Well, obviously, listen. He like me, he was clearly an English major at U of M, and he tweeted most eloquently, "Before y'all make any speculations about something, know the full story. He ain't hit no one either. Stop with the BS." Brilliantly stated. Thank you very much, Jet. But the best comment, you guys all know who Jason Whitlock is, obviously, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ann Arbor News and then Yahoo and all that. He has become a black provocateur. In other words, there are black provocateurs that are white and are racist and white guys, but he is black and he is a black provocateur, saying that at Howard, who was a great kid, honor society, homecoming king, the steadying influence for the Fab Five, that he's become suffering from white derangement syndrome, that is an outgrowth of the BLM movement.
Is the strength coach white?
Sanderson, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then his point is that he picks on little white guys. like Greg Gard. And listen, I don't agree with Jason Whitlock. I'm just quoting what he said.
And
This is not my. So Greg Gard, who's the little white coach.
In Juwan's defense, I think most people in public are smaller than him and white. Right? I mean, just by numbers.
And then so he gets it. So Greg Gard. This is 2022. But in 2021,
well, does Juwan tear any big black people a new ass? Probably does.
So he says the little Greg Gard, and then he slapped Joe Clappin something or other, who was the assistant coach. Yeah. He had gotten into it with Turgeon, who was Mark Turgeon, the Maryland coach of the screaming thing. Even this year, he was yelling at two white officials at the Texas Tech.
There's a pattern.
Is that the game he got thrown out of?
Yes, he got thrown out.
Wait, now is being thrown out of a game? Is that that's not part of zero tolerance? Because that seems like that would indicate not a great.
I just assumed zero tolerance was for actually throwing a punch. I don't know, but
more than anything, the team's played like shit this year.
They have.
Yeah, what's the record?
Yeah, that's why I thought
they won yesterday.
That's why I thought they would enforce zero tolerance so they could get rid of him.
Yeah.
So the final absurdity that I was thinking last night about Whitlock and saying that Juwan his mind has been taken over by blaming white people for everything, and that this is why it's infected him so much. So I'm watching last night in football, and I say, wait a minute, then Roger Goodell must have the same thing, because the sweatshirts, the hoodies that were worn by every team yesterday, and a number of people said justice, opportunity, freedom, equality. You had Jared Goff doing a spot about inspire change. So, these are things that are okay to say. That doesn't make you crazy. And so the Whitlock thing, he's like I say, he's a provocateur. He's found a new career on Fox News by being anti-black, and he's selling it well.
Well, doesn't he work for Outkick?
Yeah, or I thought he did at least.
Yeah,
I think.
He's with Outkick.
What's
Out? Aren't they? They're owned by Fox.
Publication.
Aren't they owned by Fox?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe so. Yeah.
I didn't know that either, but that's the role he's taken on. And of course, we got the Pistons close to embracing great notoriety. 2 back-to-back 32-point blowouts.
I gotta tell
Philadelphia
you, the betting odds are hilarious. I got a buddy who's
Tell
betting.
me what it is.
I think he's betting $5 on the money line every game because he figures the Pistons are going to win. Just keeps going up and up. There was no money line yesterday against the 76ers because it was that bad. It was that
really no money line.
Actually, it was the Bucks last night who beat
the Bucks. That's
146 to 114.
Not a money line at all.
But the thing I liked is when they lost to Philadelphia, there was this huge applause from the crowd in the fourth quarter because the Pistons Sasser, missed back-to-back free throws.
Jeez.
And in Philadelphia, they call that bricking for chicken. And when a player misses consecutive free throws, every fan gets 5 free chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A. So the place went wild when he missed 2 free throws, wondering what the hell's going on here. And the other thing I thought was very interesting this week was the Otani contract. That really isn't $70 million a year, because it couldn't go from 40, the top being for Aaron Judge, to 70. He's actually taking $46 million a year, which is the highest seasonal one each year, because Verlander and Scherzer each got 43.8 last year. But he's just taking the money in 10 years and only taking a $2 million salary now. So it's all based on inflation and what that money will be worth later on. But the Dodgers are brilliant about this. They got Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts also deferring money, and so it's how the Dodgers are able to have what would have been a $500 million payroll within reasonable amounts so far. But Otani to L.A. is just
Can I add one more college football thing out there? Kyle McCord announced where he's going to go play. I think it's Syracuse is where McCord, the former Ohio State quarterback. But there's a really fascinating article last week. He's from Pennsylvania. It was a Pennsylvania newspaper about the reasoning behind it. We thought he wasn't promised the starting job and all that. But a lot of former players or teammates spoke out, and current teammates spoke out and said, no, it's pretty much the way he was treated when they would lose, especially to Michigan, and how shitty the fan base was to him. And he's like...
He only lost 1 game.
He's like, I'm out of here. Well, but if he played bad, they were all shitty to him. And it just seemed like, I don't want to deal with this kind of fan base.
I don't know if he's going to last long if he can't deal with.
Well, Syracuse isn't going to do shit. I mean, maybe he can become the next Tommy DeVito. Go to Syracuse.
He can go to the NFL, and they're not going to talk about him if he has a bad game.
No, I know.
No.
I would never state that publicly. That's insane.
Well, he didn't state it. I mean, that's just kind of the speculation when you read between the lines. Like, if you go to Ohio State, you either have to be a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback, or you're just garbage. And you're right.
And maybe 10 other schools.
Tell me if this is true or not, Mark. Whether you notice this, when Michigan loses a big game, the fans either make excuses,
or they pretend it didn't
happen, or they
people were pissed at JJ after the TCU game. Yeah,
I guess so, but it seems like in Ohio they just put you on a different level, list.
Man.
It's a different level of hate and dissatisfaction and anger and expectation, and that's why Ryan Day had to do something also, and so maybe you make your quarterback the scapegoat. I don't know, but it's not pleasant being down there, and I don't blame.
I was surprised, and true to your point, I was surprised to hear that because you do have to have a little thicker skin and ignore a lot of that stuff.
I wouldn't tell people that or let that get out.
Well, whether he tells people that or not, that's the reason that he left, where he wants a fresh start.
Well, good luck at Syracuse having the kind of exposure he had at Ohio State.
There were two quarterbacks when I was early in my career that I became friendly with: Steve Smith at Michigan, who was their total offense leader for a while, and Dave Urema, who was at Michigan State. And both of them told me privately that losing particular games or the way they were treated by the fans left them with a bad taste about their entire college career. So you look at a guy like McCord, who's fought his way through, who waited his turn, who had a pretty good year after a slow start. His coach blows that game. Well, we know what Ryan Day.
He threw a pretty shitty interception too.
He did, but he you make a mistake, and now you're this pariah. Now you're this symbol of what's wrong with the program.
Yeah,
it's tough, and these are kids.
Welcome to sports.
Huh?
Welcome to sports.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a kid, but he's paid a lot of money to play quarterback at Ohio State. He's a professional.
Teammates love that.
How do you know what his NIL? He's nothing coming in the season.
He didn't make NIL money. The quarterback at Ohio State. Are you kidding me?
Some maybe.
Yeah, but not nearly what other big quarterbacks. I mean, remember they didn't even know who was going to be the starter for the longest time.
He came into the season like as an unexpected.
You mentioned coaching decisions too. We didn't talk about Sean Payton's coaching decisions there when they kicked the field goal. That whole 4th and goal, 3rd and goal.
I thought they scored on.
Right.
I thought they scored on. Exactly. Yeah. Why did he not challenge that? I mean, I'm glad he didn't, but what are you doing, Payton?
Maybe it's because you need indisputable evidence, and with all the pile up at the goal line, maybe not.
That second one though, the pitch.
Yeah,
I thought he scored.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't look at that anyway. And it was a close play, obviously. Why wouldn't they just look at that?
I don't know.
What do you mean? Who look at it?
Does he have to throw the flag?
If they don't score, they have to. If it's a touchdown, and turnovers are automatic.
So every time they look at a replay is because someone threw the flag?
Every touchdown and turnover are automatically reviewed.
Yeah,
well, that was a touchdown.
No, it was not ruled a touchdown.
It wasn't ruled a touchdown.
Okay, but they review plays in the middle of the field sometimes.
I think the last 2
throw
minutes
the bag every time.
Only if it's turnover.
Yeah.
Only turnovers and touchdown's are automatically reviewed.
Wait, no. They review catches.
Yes.
It's a catch or it's not a catch. They review that in the middle of the field.
That's reviewable.
They have to be challenged.
They throw the bag every time they review a catch.
In the NFL?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't see people throwing a bag every time they review a catch.
There are times when the officials do that. Is it in the end of the
that's
fourth
what
quarter?
I mean.
They can get together, but you mean when it's under 2 minutes?
You're saying every time they review a catch, somebody throws the bag.
Unless I forgot about the under 2 minutes where everything's automatically. It's the most mess. They should just do it like college does it.
The thing is, you'd think, why to parse it? I'm going to review some things and not others. Otherwise, you'd be reviewing every play, and it would just the game.
Yeah, but they do it in the NFL and then in college, and it works. But I love too that they kicked the field goal to make a three possession game at that point. It's like you got to score a touchdown there, Denver.
Well, didn't they get called offside? Is why they went. But
still, you got 4th and goal from what? The 6, the 5? Come on. Sorry,
it's okay.
I digress.
The last thing I have is that at 73 years old, I do remember when guys my age became athletes. And I remember thinking, wow, I'm 21 and he's 21, and look what he's doing with his life, and I'm stuck here, in the dorm or whatever. So Hall of Famer George McGinnis, my year, died at 73. What a great player he was, great Hoosier, part of the whole change in the NBA where the ABA was going out of business, or you had to have a hardship rule to even get to be in the draft. McGinnis had to prove that he was a hardship case just to get the chance to go into the NBA, the old Spencer Haywood rule. Isaiah Thomas had to use the hardship rule, had to prove that he was broke in order to be drafted. So it's just kind of sad, but a Hall of Famer, and to show how salaries are different, his big contract with the 76ers when he jumped to the NBA, $500,000 a year for 6 years. That was huge money back then, and now they get it every game in the NBA, the big players. That's all I got. One more second here. I got to read this. That's right. I forgot that this time 23 years ago, now I'm telling you how old I am, I decided to try this new procedure called LASIK eye surgery. I met Dr. Yaldo, told me he would not only let me get rid of my glasses, but I'd see better without them. I said, come on, you can't be serious. But I was stunned with the results, saw the tiniest of things at crazy distances, and I've been a spokesman for him ever since. 6 years ago, like everybody else my age, I got cataracts. He replaced my naturally damaged lenses with 2 permanent bifocal lenses. They will outlive me. I see great at all distances. You just don't need the contacts, glasses, or reading glasses with amazing solutions like these. And if you're young, 40 or 45, and you're having trouble reading, go check it out. See what these multifocal implants are like. They can change your life, too. You'll say what millions of others have said. It's the best decision I've ever made. So call 800-398-EYES or go to YaldoEyeCenter.com. Get a free evaluation. If you got a health savings account, you got to spend it by the end of the year. So do it. You can schedule your surgery next year, but spend the money before you lose it and line it up. And I'll get out of here if somebody tells me to. Brandon?
Oh, I guess he's not gonna, he's busy doing something else.
All right.
All right. We're going to have Elrick on in a minute. Elrick had a piece this morning about Christine Batty, the mayor's chief of staff, who is back in town working for a nonprofit, just like Kwame.
Are we staying on YouTube for ML? Or
yeah, why don't we stay on YouTube for ML?
I got to tell him to turn on his camera then.
We'll do a couple of commercials, and yeah, we'll have Elrick on.
Turn on your camera. Okay.
Hey, get out of here.
Thank you.
There it is.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Let's see. We'll talk about Griffin Claw, right? We all love Griffin Claw.
Hell yeah.
Love all their beers and booze that they make. What did they send us that was distilled, Brandon? Bourbon, right? We got bourbon, all kinds of flavors. But there's a lot of people that like to do dry January. And so why don't you stock up on Griffin Claw's 2 Hop 2.0. It's a non-alcoholic hop-flavored water. You can visit shop.griffinclaw.com, or you can simply go to
Yummy beer.
DrewandMikeShow.com and click on the Griffin Claw logo. That's right on our page. And then when you check out, when you're shopping there, just put Drew in for the promo code, and you have it shipped to your door at a discount. They're even going to throw in a personalized Drew and Mike card to offset the shipping there that you're going to have to pay. So while you're there, too, if you buy $100 worth of gift cards, you're going to receive a bonus card with $25. And if you don't want to be all sober in January, and that's not your thing, then you can visit Griffin Claw's tap rooms in Birmingham or Rochester Hills, or just simply go to your local craft beer retailer and purchase beers like Sin, Repent, Repeat, or Bonnie's Raggedy Ass Double IPA. So if this is your first dry January, don't ever freak out like Diddy does, and know that Griffin Claw's Hop 2.0 non-alcoholic water can be murdered. I have some right here, too, for the camera. See, that's what it looks like. It's actually pretty good. So let's see. What else do I need to tell you about? Juggling too many things too early in the morning. What time did you get home yesterday, Brandon?
About 1:15.
Yeah, it was a long night.
Slept for a couple hours and came right back.
I'm so glad you and Bentley and I went, though. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
It was. You were supposed to drive, but you screwed that one up.
I know. I got stuck at, and I'm happily stuck at a family Christmas party. So it kind of, no, it was a lot of fun. It was great. But then it just threw our plans into a whole wreck. How many was I supposed to read, Drew?
3.
3. So what did you do? Did you do Legacy?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? And you did Polyvoo.
No, I didn't do it.
You're not in Polyvoo.
I just
okay.
mentioned Polyvoo.
Yeah, they're our sponsor for YouTube. They're a full-service family dental office. They have over 600 five-star reviews, and Dr. Polyvoo himself has been practicing for over 25 years. They use state-of-the-art technology. They have the in-house Polyvoo discount plan available for those that don't have dental insurance. They're an official Invisalign provider. They've done hundreds of those cases. And, of course, we've talked about the iTero digital scanner where you can see what results are going to look like in just minutes. You don't have to deal with those impressions. They love to shove right into your mouth. Other dentists love doing that. So, yeah, they got the scanner that'll do that. They serve ages 7 and up, so everyone's welcome. If you're looking to switch up your dentist, why don't you give Polyvoo a shot? PolyvooDental.com. 313-388-2400 is their number.
Is that your third?
That was my second one.
You're supposed to do 3.
I know, but I'm also trying to make sure Elrick's on board too. So.
Oh, okay.
Here, do you want to
What's
read
wrong with Elrick?
Garbage.
Well, he was connected. Let's see if he's there.
He's disconnected?
Yeah, but he didn't have his video up. So.
Please stand by. Drew and the gang are experiencing technical
I
difficulties.
see him now. Okay.
Blame will be assessed shortly.
Was Elrick not aware he was
stand by.
coming on today? I thought it was pretty clear. It's weird. Apologies for lack of ad read updates. Those who approved the ad reads for Pinnacle Wealth Strategies would not have approved of the humor in the ad reads. Well, they're not Pinnacle Wealth Strategies anymore.
No.
Anyway, the snow is falling, so not only is Maz waking up scared, but have you ever had that I'll get it together next year feeling? Well, next year is almost here. 24 is coming off the bench, economically angry like an amped-up Probert from the early 90s. Keep your head up and be prepared. If you'd like some help managing your assets, give Luke and Zach a call at Pinnacle Wealth. Well, it's not Pinnacle Wealth. Give them a call at 248-663-4748.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. member FINRA-SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
Okay, come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked, awesome. And also, they are right next door to Woodward Sports, where Maz predicted on, well, actually it was Thursday on our show, he predicted Laporta would score. He has been psychic with his predictions this year.
I will say that I predicted Laporta will have 3 touchdowns walking into the game, mostly because he was on my fantasy team, but that was a correct...
Wow, great night for fantasy, huh?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you.
Someone also guaranteed a Lions victory last week. Just saying.
Yeah, Mark did on Wednesday.
Same.
Are we still Elrickless?
No, he's there.
He is.
You can see his handsome face.
There he is. All right. He's ready.
Good morning.
How you doing, ML? You look a little tired.
Yeah, I played hockey last night in Mount Clemens. It was a late night.
I see. Were there beers after the game?
Always.
Hey, where'd our chat go?
Well, I can't do it while he's on here.
Oh, okay. Wow, this morning I got up to read the Detroit News, and there was the story, ML Elrick letting us know that, thank goodness, Christine Beatty is back, and she's working for a nonprofit, doing her great work, again, for the people. Unfortunately, she still is not paying back her restitution, much like her boss, Kwame Kilpatrick. I don't understand. Kwame is the head of a CEO of a nonprofit. Why is this okay? And why is it okay for Christine Beatty not to pay anything in 10 years?
That's really easy. It's not okay.
But it seems to me
the Wayne County prosecutor is planning to file motions in court compelling both Kilpatrick and Beatty to resume making their restitution payments, which they haven't made in 10 years, even though at least Beatty's been working pretty steady for the last several years. And Kilpatrick, he's got various sources of income, but he's pretty good at making them hard to get to.
Well, Kilpatrick...
Hell yeah.
When he was raising his $8,000 blocks to build his mansion because he's so important to his flock, of course, and then they went to collect that money out of his, was it a GoFundMe? And he had already raided it. Apparently it was tipped off. I don't understand, why is he always one step ahead? Why would he get to keep that money? Why can nothing, it seems, ever happen? It seems like they're always a day late and a dollar short. I mean, at this point, they're now going to do something about it? It's been all this time. Why does it take so long?
Mainly because Wayne County has people getting murdered, and so they can't get all those guys. So a couple of knuckleheads who agreed to pay us money who stopped paying us money is kind of low on their list of things to do. But because Kilpatrick needs to be in the public eye to raise money, and because people talk to me about what they run across, people like Beatty, who like to fly under the radar, eventually cross my radar, and then I write about it. And then the prosecutor says, oh, okay, they're back, they're making money. Well, we should probably try and get some of that. But it's one of these things where there's, it sounds even ludicrous to say, but I guess there's sort of an honor system that they're expected to abide by. But the reason
criminals.
they owe us
They're
restitution
felons.
is they have no honor.
Her, I love that ML mentions this in the story, that she worked as a self-employed consultant until 2017. Who would hire as a consultant Christine Batty, who helped raid Detroit's coffers for all those years and bid rig and all the little things she did, take grant money when she was making over $100,000 a year for a program that was supposed to be for, what was the description of the program that she got the $12,000 grant for her lovely condo? What was the deal with that?
Oh yeah, so this was a program that was started by Fifth Third Bank because they had been ordered to make some money available to help people because they apparently had not lived up to some of their banking requirements, and so they created a fund to help low and moderate income Detroiters buy homes or start businesses. And they also would have liked to have done some business with the city of Detroit. So one of the executives with Fifth Third Bank lived down the street from the Manoogian Mansion, and Kilpatrick and Beatty basically said, hey, you know, it might really help you if you helped us. And so they gave Beatty a $12,000 loan, which didn't need to be repaid back, to help her buy this very nice house in Rosedale Park. She didn't qualify for a loan because her credit rating sucked. And so she needed some more cash for the down payment. So they went to this loan where she certainly didn't qualify because she made $140,000 at the time, which still isn't low to moderate income in Detroit.
How can she have such crap credit making $140,000 a year? I mean, she's always worked, hasn't she?
If I recall correctly, she had some sort of hospital bill when she was in college that was messing up her credit rating. But again, you know, she's one of the smartest people in the history of Detroit. She's a wizard with everything she's ever touched. So she should have been able to figure that out, right? Somebody as talented and magical as her shouldn't have found herself in that kind of predicament, unless it turns out that was all bullshit, which it turns out that it really was.
Well, as you mentioned, Beatty's bio says she saved the city $30 million by negotiating pay cuts and benefit cuts for union workers. Are you telling me that this is still in her bio?
Love you.
Yes, on this foundation website. But like my column in the Detroit Free Press says today, she forgot to mention that she's helped lay off 4,000 people, including firefighters and cops, cut pay and benefits for union workers, while their friends and families got hired and got huge raises. So basically, if you provided the city of Detroit any kind of service, you took a haircut or you got a pink slip. But if you were friends and family of Christine, like her half-sister or her sorority sister, you made bank doing jobs that you probably weren't particularly qualified for.
And who just hired her now?
Thaw,
and
a nonprofit.
And who did the hiring there?
So this is one of her high school friends.
That's interesting.
She in fact, this woman, Santil Jenkins, who's a very fine person, maybe with some questionable personnel decisions, but she was such good friends with Kilpatrick and Beatty that when she got in a car accident downtown shortly after Kilpatrick and Beatty moved into City Hall, they both rushed to the scene to make sure that police were taking care of everything that was going on. So they go back a long way.
Because that's what best friends do.
Any idea what her salary is?
I don't know. I imagine she's working for more than minimum wage, but she's not one of the top 5 highest paid employees at Thaw, which I know because IRS records that are publicly available disclose the top 5 highest paid. So she could be making 6 figures, but she's almost certainly making less than, say, 120.
I would guess she makes a couple dollars less than number 5.
Yeah.
They're probably aware of what they have to disclose, and they wouldn't want to disclose that. But it's amazing. Here they are back on the trough, working for nonprofits. And, I would venture to say the fact that she would put this in her bio, her accomplishments working for the mayor, that she and Kilpatrick have learned nothing from incarceration, less than nothing.
Well, they certainly show no cognizance of this little thing that's been around for a while called Google, which anybody can use to find out that the bio is a pile of crap.
Now, in watching TV over the weekend, I kept seeing this crazy promo. It looks like she's talking to somebody. Did you get a chance?
Oh, she'll probably clear it all up then. Who's she talking to?
Yeah, well, I mean, did you get a chance to talk to her?
Yeah, well, so as I mentioned in the column in today's Free Press, I tried for a week to get her to talk to me. I mean, to the point where her lawyer and I are yelling at each other, and he's telling me all these wonderful things off the record. And I'm like, why are you telling me wonderful things about her off the record? Why don't you put them on the record? Because off the record means I can't share them. So the whole time that I'm trying to get her to talk to me, and I understand I'm not her favorite person. If you're a scroungy person in politics in Detroit or Michigan and you get a phone call from me, I understand you're not going to call me right away. But they seem to have been working with Channel 4.
Well, if she's doing nothing wrong, why wouldn't she call you back? Wouldn't she want to tell her story?
And I would think Thaw would appreciate some attention.
Some attention, not
this kind.
This attention. But Thaw did talk to me late in the week. They agreed to speak with me. They didn't really want to talk about her personal problems or some of her past, which they think is not that big a deal. But at the same time that we were waiting for Batty, giving her every courtesy and every respect, she was basically slow walking us and then approaching TV stations, at least one TV station, to set up kind of a, now Christine Batty tells her story. Well, I'm here to tell you why she's telling her story now, because she knew I was going to set the record straight, and she wanted to get some sort of hagiography out there so that her friends and family could see, how much she's grown.
Yeah. Well, isn't it being suggested that the only thing she did wrong was have an affair with Kwame Kilpatrick? Is that what someone in the story said? Was that Thaw that said that?
Yes, Santil, and of course, anybody who's an apologist for Christine basically says, you know what, she fell in love with the wrong guy, and then she lied about it. Well, I have to tell you, other than the lies, which also involve lying about ruining the career of a police officer, I don't care about the affair. What I do care about is she was a terrible chief of staff. She ruined lots of people's careers because she determined they weren't as committed to the cause of Kwame Kilpatrick as she was. She doled out jobs to friends and family. She helped Bobby Ferguson get contracts that he wasn't entitled to.
Oh, and he's back
she
too.
She basically told people to pay money into the Kilpatrick Civic Fund that they didn't use for its stated purpose, which was to help Detroit. They used it so the Kilpatricks could live like kings.
Yes.
And so that she and Kilpatrick could take a trip to Vail, to some resort where they got massages and who knows what the hell else.
Hell yeah.
I was just going to mention that that reminded me that Bobby Ferguson also attempted to get back on the trough. His daughter was involved in a bid, apparently, that they ended up losing.
Yeah, the city canceled the contract, and I'm not as well versed in this one, but my understanding is the city canceled a contract worth more than $1 million with a company that was purportedly run by Bobby Ferguson's daughter, but the address and some of the other records came back to his old place, Ferguson Enterprises on Wyoming. So the city said, this might be, I think what they consider this to be a front, which is something that Christine and Kilpatrick talked about in their text messages, that they were going to put a front out there for Bobby to get a city contract back 20 years ago. So the players haven't changed. The game hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is that people want us to forget what they really did. And so I'm here to remind people that no. This wasn't about fooling around. This wasn't about screwing somebody else's husband or wife. This is about screwing the taxpayers.
I need you so bad.
I cannot believe all three of them have attempted to basically come back to the same place they they captured a lot of money for themselves, for their family and friends, and they've come back to capture more from Detroit. I don't know which one of them shocks me the most and the least. Actually, we shouldn't be surprised by any of this, should we? No. She started over in Atlanta, but then, it's so much easier to go back to Detroit. I still got friends there.
Who can hire me? Yeah.
Why would somebody, I'm stunned that someone would hire her and think that's not a problem, especially for a city nonprofit. I mean, that's kind of mind-boggling. And then to say, oh, well, all she did was have an affair. Come on, you're not, either you're lying or you're not paying any attention at all.
I think for people like me who support Thaw, one of the concerns should be that when donors find out that some of their money is going to Christine Beatty, might they stop donating to a cause that helps people keep the lights on, the heat on, and the water flowing when they otherwise, could freeze to death? I mean, when I send money to Thaw, I want my money to go to the needy, not to the greedy.
I would love to know, by the way, when she was a consultant, I would love to have a list of all the people that she consulted for, just so I know to never do any kind of business with any of them.
Yeah, a couple of them are listed on her LinkedIn page.
Really?
But yeah.
I wonder if they know that.
Look them up, Brandon. Pull it up.
Whenever I think of these guys and consultants, I recall a moment during the Kilpatrick trial where Bobby Ferguson was caught putting some phony invoices out there, and he had a typo, so it was I think it was Ferguson Consulants, and when they put that up on the projector, Kilpatrick and his dad were both laughing their ass off and looking over at Bobby like, Consulants? What's a consulant? And Bobby was looking straight ahead like, oh, it's not funny.
Hey, did you mention in the story what her position is at Thaw? Do you know what her position is? And is this a new position, or was somebody they've been trying to hire for this position? Because I love it when nonprofits add positions.
Sure. So what they've told me is that she's a program manager, and it's not really clear what that is.
I see.
But
which program?
The good one that helps people. That's the one.
What a
She's
joke.
real good at it.
What a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, it was a great story, and it was a great review for me, because I remember all those individual stories that you mentioned, but I couldn't have, maybe remembered one or two of them off the top of my head. The laundry list is insane, and it's beyond ludicrous that anyone, a nonprofit in Detroit, would hire her and pay her a decent salary when there are other people who I'm sure would kill for that job.
It does make you wonder if one of the needy people that Thaw is now trying to support includes Christine Beatty, which really wouldn't be so much of a problem if she was just kicking a little bit of that back towards her restitution. The thing about restitution is she owes $78,000 of the $100,000 she agreed to pay to help settle the criminal prosecution stemming from the text message scandal. The thing about restitution is, while you make an agreement, you don't necessarily have to keep a schedule or pay a certain amount. What you do have to make is a good faith effort to pay the restitution. So she was paying $500 a month for a while. It doesn't mean she has to pay it now. She could probably spend $100 a month or send him $10. Just something that says, I acknowledge my obligation, and if this is all I got that I can spare, I'll spare it. But you may remember when Kilpatrick had a restitution problem, his lawyer said he's only got $6 a month left over. Yeah. And so we reported, and I should tell you now, it was erroneous, that Kilpatrick was offering to pay $6 a month towards his restitution bill. His lawyer told me later, he's like, you got it all wrong. I'm not saying he's going to give the $6 in restitution. I'm saying he only has $6 left over. And I said, so you're telling me he has $6 left over and he won't even give that? He's like, yes, that's what I'm telling you. I said, and you're being paid to represent this man? And of course, Kilpatrick ended up getting thrown back in jail because the judge said this is just complete bullshit. So,
not to mention that his debt to the the water company was some insane amount, and Bobby Ferguson paid it. Yeah. And that's okay. I don't understand why that's okay. I mean, you explained it to me that, well, when you're convicted together, yeah, you can do that. But what was the amount, and how much did Bobby Ferguson pay? It's a lot of money, I know.
Yeah, it was well over $1 million. And what happened was, it's not that anybody actually paid it. It's that when the feds raided some bank accounts and some safe deposit boxes and some offices, they found some cash, and they said, well, we're going to take this cash and put it towards restitution. So it's not even like somebody said, yeah, here's some dough I got laying around. It's more like the feds kicked in the door, found a bag of cash, and said, well, guess what? Here's your first restitution payment.
And some of that went towards Kilpatrick.
Yes, some of it paid down
I don't understand that,
restitution debt. So
I wonder how Bobby Ferguson is living now, if he's living an affluent lifestyle, because he made a lot of money for only serving 6 years. I mean, that was supposed to be a 28-year sentence. He only served 6 years, and he should be high on the hog now.
Well, his daughter's deals with the city just blew up because they were operating out of the same building as him, and he wasn't supposed to have...
that was that was so unfair, and I know he was terribly put out by that. I mean, to even act like you're put out by that, like, oh, my God, this is an outrage. My poor daughter.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you know, Bobby was doing pretty well before Kilpatrick became mayor, and I think he just thought that this was his golden ticket, and he certainly treated it that way. But I still remember getting on an elevator at the Renaissance Center with Bobby and Christine on the night Kilpatrick was elected mayor, and I looked at both of them and I said, you know, this is as good as it gets. And what I meant was, when you win, everybody loves you, and you're not in office, so nobody expects you to do anything. It's all just promises. Once you get in there, now you have to keep the promises. And Bobby just looked at me and said, no, man, it's just going to get better. And I just kind of shook my head and said, these guys have no idea what's going to happen. And, of course, the joke's on me, because neither did I.
Yeah, it did get better. It did get better for him. Anyway, the entire story, we've really just, there's a lot of information there. I thought it was really well done, and I look forward to seeing her interviewed by, unfortunately, someone else. Where is her interview going to run?
Yeah, so it is a long story well told.
Yes.
Christy McDonald is doing a sit-down with her at Channel 4, which is, of course, always ironic, because Channel 4 was the one that basically knuckled under to Christine Beatty and other people when they came over and said, Elrick's not doing any more stories on the mayor. So I guess that's changed. But yeah, that's supposed to air, and let me help my friends in the media, Monday at 5:45 on Local 4.
Okay, I'm going to record that.
We'll be talking about this Tuesday on ML Soul of Detroit, along with some more behind-the-scenes story about this. And we'll have Erica Erickson on, so you're going to want to check out that episode.
Yeah, she's coming in studio, right?
That's what we're told. So everybody needs to take a bath.
All right.
And this article is behind the paywall, right? So
I understand it's $1 for like 6 months subscription.
That's what I was waiting for, the dollar pitch.
It's barely a paywall. In fact, you know what? It will cost you more than Christine Beatty or Kwame Kilpatrick has paid in restitution for the last 10 years. So I guess, you know, who's a dick now?
Thanks, ML.
And a portion of all subscriptions go to pay local bartenders. So please subscribe early and often. Tell your friends.
Thank you. Thank you.
You had me at hello, Jerry Maguire, 2000. Ha ha.
We will say goodbye to YouTube. You can pick up the rest of the show when it is released. Not too long from now. So there you go.
Time for Tubby Bye-Bye. Time for Tubby Bye-Bye. Time for Tubby Bye-Bye.
It's got to be our longest stint on YouTube, I would think.
Close to it, yeah.
Hour and 20.
Yeah.
Were people up this morning?
Yeah, I saw a few hundred in the